Unplugged, real insights from the cutting edge. This is a stripped down video series where I share behind the scenes insights as a scientist and as a doctor on different health and wellness topics. It's raw, direct, unscripted, no sugarcoating, just real talk and real science. And today we're going to talk about surprising things that people do on an everyday basis that they don't realize might be damaging their health, and what we can actually do about it. All right, I'm going to give you a couple of tips, practical tips of ways to actually get around. These are little hacks that you can actually do for health. All right. Now, first, before I tell you what are these harmful actions, I got to tell you how your body fixes it. So here's the thing. There is the new science of health that tells us that we are all born with 5 health defense systems in our body. Now, I wrote about this in my book, my New York Times bestselling book, Eat to Beat Disease. And if you haven't read that, I strongly recommend it. It actually has a lot of insights into the cutting edge science that I actually did myself, and a lot of the research that people love to hear about in terms of food as medicine. But more importantly, it reveals that our body has these 5 health defenses. And I'm going to tell you what they are right now. Number 1, our first defense is called angiogenesis. Angio, blood vessel. Genesis, how our body grows our circulation. Now, our blood vessels, our circulation, a 60,000 mile network of highways and byways that deliver the oxygen we breathe and the nutrients that we eat to every single cell and every single organ in our body. So when our blood vessels are healthy, they protect our health. All right. Very important health defense system. Second health defense system are our stem cells. Most people don't realize this, but we are all born with about 70 million stem cells that live in our bone marrow, in our body fat, in our skin, a little bit in our heart, even in our brains. And these stem cells are called out like bees coming out of a hive in order to be able to heal and repair us from the inside out. So we actually can't regenerate like a starfish or a salamander, but we can actually regenerate and repair and heal ourselves from the inside out using our stem cells. Very, very important as a health defense. Third health defense is our gut microbiome. Now, most people by now have heard about good gut health, which relates to our gut microbiome. This is 39 trillion bacteria that live inside our body. Most of them live in our gut, our lower gut, in a part of the gut called the colon. And within the colon, part of the colon called the cecum. It's a little sac in our colon. All right, it's where the appendix actually is. And this little sac contains all these bacteria. It's an ecosystem, kind of like the Great Barrier Reef, filled with bacteria that actually do all kinds of good things when they are healthy. Our good, healthy gut microbiome will lower inflammation. All right, they produce short-chain fatty acids that can do this. Our gut bacteria also smooths out our metabolism by helping us have better insulin sensitivity, so we have less blood glucose floating around. Our gut microbiome also helps us heal if we have an injury from the inside out, so it actually speeds up wound healing if we're injured inside our body. It also, our good gut bacteria also text messages our brain, all right, and helps our brain release neurotransmitters that are important for a better mood, all right, like oxytocin, like dopamine, like serotonin, all these neurotransmitters that are super important to put us in a better place mentally, good for our good mental well-being. That's our third health defense system. Fourth health defense systems are DNA. Now, you probably know that our DNA is our genetic code. We inherit our DNA from our parents. But did you know that DNA also protects us from the environment? So if we actually have toxins in the environment, whether it's ultraviolet radiation from the sun or toxin that we breathe in, guess what our DNA does? It can fix damage to our DNA that's made, or it can prevent the damage. Now, why is that important? Is because our DNA damage is called a mutation. And mutations are the setup for developing cancer. Right? Cancers are actually, the root cause of cancer, actually inflammation, plus mutations in our body will actually spark tumors, including cancerous tumors, to actually grow. So our DNA defenses protect us against that kind of damage. DNA does is actually it can respond to beneficial actions that we take to create epigenetic changes that can actually protect us against cancer and also help unleash healthy genes. These are proteins that are made by our DNA. Our genes can actually help us create defensive substance that can help us live longer and better as well. And speaking of living longer, our DNA defenses also have at the very end of them a little cap called telomeres. Now, telomeres are at the end of our DNA. They protect us from cellular aging. So as we get older, they burn down. And when they finally burn down to the very bottom, it's like a candle. The wick burns all the way down to the bottom. Then basically our cells are kaput. They've aged. Now, the other analogy that's been given to these defenses for DNA is like the caplet at the end of a shoelace, right? So, basically with that caplet, that little plastic thing on the end of the shoelace protects our shoelace from fraying and unraveling. And, over time, that caplet will break down. And what happens at that point? Guess what? Your shoelace begins to unravel. You ever try to tie an unraveled shoelace or try to thread it back into the eyelet in your shoes? Forget about it. Like really difficult. Well, that's what actually happens when our telomeres burn down. So our telomeres, our DNA can protect ourselves by like growing the telomere, getting it longer again, protecting it from damage. So that's another health defense. And then finally, our fifth health defense is our immune system. Now, our immune system can actually raise inflammation when it's healthy, actually helpful for you, like if you're injured and you need to repair yourself, or our immune system can actually lower inflammation as well, turn down the volume to inflammation, which is really important. Or the other thing it can do is it can actually turn up our immunity, our protective immunity. It protects us from invaders from outside of our body, like bacteria and viruses, and our immune system protects us from invaders inside our body. What am I talking about? I'm talking about cancer cells. Cancer cells are invaders inside our body, and our immune system can conduct surveillance, spot those abnormal cells, and take them out. All right? So these 5 health defense systems, angiogenesis, stem cells, gut microbiome, DNA defenses, and our immune system are vital for our health. Okay, now, what are some activities we do every single day? I'm going to give you 3 of them that we don't realize can cause us harm. All right. So you ready for them? The first one I'm going to tell you about is filling up your gas tank at the filling station, petrol station, depending on where you live. All right. Now you're wondering, like, how can that be harmful? Well, actually, when you actually pull your car up to the gas station to fill up your tank, you're probably doing it because your fuel tank looks like it's heading towards empty. Got to get some gas. All right. Totally understand. So what do? You get out, you turn off the car, get out of the car, go to the pump, pick up the nozzle. You got to put your credit card in or whatever. Put that nozzle into the car, into the slot, the port, and then you hit the gas level that you want. All right, you can get higher quality, lower quality, and you're putting that gas into your car, and you can feel it pumping through the hose into your car. You can hear it sloshing around in your tank. Now, here's where the danger is. If you can smell the fumes of the gasoline, guess what? You are breathing in a solvent, and that solvent in your lungs can damage DNA inside your lungs. So if you're filling up your car with gas and you can smell the gasoline leaking around the side of the port or coming out of the pump, all right, that means that you're actually breathing in that toxic vapor. It can cause a mutation in your DNA, and that is a terrible thing, to have DNA damage in your lung. Now, you might think perhaps that'll actually set up for lung cancer. It's true. If you actually do that often enough and you're breathing in all these solvents, you can actually trigger lung cancer. The good news is that your DNA health defense system can actually repair that damage that could actually be caused by those solvents. But there's another fix. And the other fix is that, and this is really what I want to tell you is a practical thing you can do, is don't stand downwind. When you stand downwind, that means the wind's coming from in front of you, between you, beyond you and the pump, and is blowing that the fumes right through the pump into your face, and you're breathing it. What you do, this is what I do, is when I put that hose into my car, I try to sense where the wind is coming from. If the wind is coming from up that way, I will actually step over the hose and I'll stand upwind from the pump. Now the wind is blowing past me and the pump is behind me and the fumes are behind me. I'm not breathing it at all. All right. Simple maneuver. Just walk to the other side of where the wind is blowing. And now you are not breathing in those harmful fumes. Something that a lot of people don't think about, but it's actually really important health hack if you want to actually avoid something that you might not have been thinking about could be dangerous for you. Now, the other thing that you could do, all right, just for a defense, is that if you happen to be breathing in those solvent fumes, if you actually have been eating enough fruits and vegetables, all right, produce that contain antioxidants, strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, broccoli, tomatoes, all right, all these antioxidants, they can protect your DNA against damage as well. So then circulating in your bloodstream are all these antioxidant substances from healthy foods that we're eating. Even though you might be breathing some of these fumes, guess what? You've put a shield in there inside your bloodstream to protect you a little bit. And anything that sneaks through that damages your DNA, guess what? Your DNA health defenses will fix it again. So another reason to actually use food as medicine, just as protective, as kind of an extra shield to protect you against fumes that you might be breathing that could damage your DNA, and you wouldn't even know it. All right? Are you ready for the second thing that you might be doing that you think is healthy that actually could be not so healthy for your health? Guess what? It's drinking bottled water. Now, wasn't so long ago where we told everybody, drink bottled water wherever you're going, all right? If you're working out, if you're going on vacation and it's really hot, go to the beach. If you're at a concert, if you're at an outdoor event, anywhere where, you might actually be dehydrating yourself, make sure you stay hydrated. Now, that hydration part is still true, but what is new is the danger comes from drinking water, or frankly, any liquid, any beverage, juice, fruit juice, iced tea, iced coffee, out of a plastic container. Because we now know that these plastic containers actually shed microparticles, microplastics, right into the liquid, into the water that we're drinking, right? Now, then when we drink the water, all right, or whatever, the beverage, we are actually consuming all those microplastics. Now, why is that bad? Well, recently we've discovered that these microplastics, and some people estimate that we consume up to a credit card's worth of plastic into our bodies every week because of how much we're surrounded by plastics. Maybe it's more, maybe it's less. It doesn't matter if that's the right amount or not. What we now know from autopsy studies and from surgical samples, is that the microplastics can accumulate in our body. So we know from studies done by neurologists and cardiologists that in fact microplastics can stick inside the lining of the blood vessel. And in fact, if you've got microplastics stuck inside your blood vessels, it increases your risk of stroke and heart attack by 4 times, all right, 4-fold. We also know from urologists who are doing surgery on the penis that they're actually finding microplastics embedded into penis tissue. Reproductive medicine doctors are finding that microplastics are even found in human semen. I don't know how it gets there, but somehow it works its way into your testicles, into your semen. We've also found at autopsy studies looking at human brains that microplastics are found inside the brain as well, and they cause inflammation. How much microplastics are found in the brain? Well, a recent study actually looked at the amount of plastic in the brain. You could actually measure the plastic on a scale, and they found it was about the amount that's found in a plastic spoon, just dispersed throughout the brain. Now, imagine that. That's not what you want. Plastic causes inflammation. The last thing you want, if you want to live well and live long, all right, a lot of people are thinking about longevity these days, you don't actually want to have inflammatory plastic in your brain. Got some brain fog? Ask yourself, when's the last time you drank out of a plastic bottle? All right. Now, doing it once in a while probably is not going to be that damaging, but think about the number of water bottles we've actually consumed water on over the years. All right. Now, our body clearly can get rid of some of the plastics. All right. But we don't understand how it does it yet. That's an area of active research. I'm just telling you, we don't know. I'm an honest scientist. The scientists will tell you when we don't know something. So we don't know exactly how the body gets rid of microplastics, but that is something that you definitely don't want to do whenever you can avoid all the time, which is drink water to hydrate, which is a good thing. You don't want to be doing it out of a plastic water bottle. All right. So how do you actually avoid that? Well, one thing that you can actually do is to drink out of glass. So if you buy bottled water, get it out of a glass. All right, it's heavier, it can break, or better yet, you can get a thermos. All right, it could be a metal thermos, but it might have glass on the inside, or it might have metal on the inside. That's the best container to fill up. Just make sure you're not filling it up from another plastic water bottle, so you're actually just putting microplastics in your thermos or your bottle you're bringing with you. All right, drink water or other beverages from glass, not plastic. And by the way, this is true if you're drinking tea or coffee as well, iced tea or iced coffee. Now, I actually tell people that there's the holy trinity of 3 healthy beverages: water, tea, and coffee. And if you have those, whether they're hot or they're cold, don't have them out of plastic. Don't have them out of styrofoam. All right, don't have them out of a plastic cup. Make sure you get it out of a mug, a ceramic mug, glass, or metal. That's the best way to avoid microplastics. All right. You want the third one? Ready for the third? Thing that we do often that we don't realize could be actually causing harm. That's nuking starches in our microwave. Nuking a starch in our microwave. Now, look, here's something you might do. You cook some pasta. I like to cook and I like to make pasta. Let's say you have some leftovers and it might have some really, really healthy tomato sauce that you have on it, and you put it into a container, all right, and you're going to nuke it. It's in the fridge overnight. You're going to nuke it the next day to heat it up. Well, number one, you don't want to be nuking in a plastic container, all right, that's no good. That plastic container, you shouldn't even store it in a plastic container, will leach microplastics. Number two, if you got a starch like pasta, or another example would be pizza, like a pizza crust, if you nuke that, the high temperatures of the microwave will actually convert the starch, all right, which is a carbohydrate. The heat is going to be so high, it'll convert it into a polymer, which is a plastic that when you eat, now you're eating a plastic. And what that does is that when you're eating that stuff, your body has a hard time getting rid of these. In fact, they accumulate, these particles can accumulate in your body as something called AGEs, Advanced Glycation End Products, all right? And they're called end products because your body doesn't know how to get rid of them. So you ever nuke a slice of pizza in the microwave, right? The part with the sauce on it will actually get nice and hot, but the crust will turn into cement. All right. And that is an example of the microwave nuking the starch and converting it into a polymer, i.e. a plastic that you don't want to be eating. It's like really crunchy, like cement. All right. Don't be eating that. Microwaving starches is not good. Microwaving liquids, soups, stews, something that you're reheating that actually is in liquid is fine. I'd make sure you're not heating it in plastic though. But if there's enough liquid, that's going to be fine. You're not going to actually convert it. It's really dried starches that can actually be a problem. So you want to avoid accumulating AGEs. And the simple solution, the simple hack for that is to, number one, don't heat it in plastic. And number two, don't heat starches that way. So for me, if you want to heat some leftover pasta, easiest thing is to fire up a stainless steel pan, all right, and just heat it up in a pan. Put a little bit of extra virgin olive oil or a little bit of water, and you'll heat it up really quickly, all right? I guarantee you that's a tastier, safer way of actually doing it. And then you can actually add new spices to it. I like to refresh leftovers that way, so you're kind of cooking it again, so you're refreshing the dish. A lot healthier than putting it in a microwave. Or if you're heating up something like a slice of pizza, please just get a toaster oven, all right, and fire it up there, heat it up there. That's the safest way to do it. Don't nuke your slices of leftover pizza. All right, that's it for this episode of Dr. Lee Unplugged. I hope you learned something, and if you